Alright, so the first problem, I'm going to change the graph a little bit because I don't like the graph that I put into the review to find the domain and the range. So for the domain, we're looking at the x values, and so the answers are going to be in interval notation. So the lowest x value is over here at -3. The highest x value is over here at 1. So my domain is from -3 to +1. For my range, I'm looking at the lowest y value to the highest y value. Well, the lowest y value is over here, which is down at -4, and the highest y value is all the way at 0. So looking at the graph, my range goes from -4 to 0. When doing this transformation in problem number 2, we have two of them. The first one is this +3 inside, and that +3 means we are going to go to the left by 3. If it would have been minus, we would have gone to the right. And this -5 at the end, we are going down 5. And anything that's in parentheses, we always do the opposite of what we think we should do. So when I get this equation, what I'm going to do is I'm going to graph this on the graphing calculator in order to find the vertex. And taking a look at this, my vertex is going to be somewhere down at the bottom right over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a minimum. And to find a minimum, you're going to hit second trace 3. And I have an x over here for my low bound. And then I'm going to move my right arrow till I get to the other side. And then I hit enter, and then when it hits guess, I hit enter again. And so it's going to say 1.5 comma -13, and that's going to be my vertex. Alright, to find the maximum or minimum value and identify the range of this one, once again I'm going to graph it in my calculator. And yes, that is a -1 at the end. Once again, we have a minimum, so you're going to want to do second trace, minimum, left bound over here, right bound over there. And if you have that, then you just hit enter on the guess, and you will find out that your answer is going to be at the point -3, -10. But that's not what they're looking for. They're looking for a minimum of -10. And so the range is from -10 to infinity. And there's your answer. Alright, for the next problem, we have a function that has this for how high a frog jumps. And so what we're going to do is we're going to graph this and find the maximum height and the time that it took. Now, of course, I'm using x in the calculator and not t. So here's the picture that we see. And so the maximum height is right there. So we're going to do second trace 4. Use the left bound and the right bound. And this turns out to be 2.33 comma 0.817. So 2.33 seconds is the time, and 0.817 feet is the maximum height. For this problem, I'm once again going to plug this into y1. But I'm going to put y2 equals 0. You could also do this with the quadratic formula, but I think this one way will be easier. So when you graph it, you get a picture that looks like this. And remember, y2 needs to be equal to 0. So this time you're going to do second trace and go down to number 5, which is the intersect button. and you hit enter 3 times, and that's going to give you the one that's closest to 0, which is this one. And so my first one is negative 0.38. I do second trace, intersect. I hit enter for the first 2 curves, and then I go over to the one on the right hand side over here. This is where I'm making my guess for the second one, and it tells me the answer is 4.38. And I'm done with that because I have my 2 answers for the quadratic formula. Alright, so to complete the square, this one hopefully isn't too difficult. You take b divided by 2 and square it, and you get 144. We're on problem number 8. This time they want us to use the quadratic formula because the answers are going to be in the quadratic form. So they gave us this divided by 2a. So a is equal to 3, b is equal to negative 1, c is equal to negative 6. So since b is supposed to be negative, I'm going to use positive 1 plus or minus negative 1 squared minus 4 times 3 times 6 divided by 2 times 3. So 1 plus or minus 2 times 3 is 6. We'll just put this into the calculator. Not forgetting this should be negative 6. And I have the square root of 73. Now since I can't break down negative square root of 73, I'm going to leave my answer like this, except for in the choices, they are going to split up the numerator, and so the answer is going to go like this. The square root of negative 81 for problem number 9 is, well, the square root of 81 is 9, so that's 9i. When I do 3 plus 6i minus 5 minus 7i, we're going to combine the 3 minus 5, and that gives me negative 2. And then I'm going to combine those two, 6i minus negative 7i, and 6 minus negative 7 is positive 13i, and that's it for number 10. For problem number 11, we have negative 3i times negative 7i. Well, negative 3 times negative 7 is 21i squared. But anytime we have I squared, that's the same as negative 1. So that answer is negative 21. And since we're going to do 12 a video, for problem number 12, we have 7 minus 5i times negative 2 plus 7i. So we're going to multiply the 7 by both of these. So that's 7 plus, or 14, negative 14 plus 49i. Negative 5i times negative 2 is 10i. And negative 5i times positive 7i is negative 35i squared. Negative 35i squared is the same thing as positive 35. Combine like terms, the real ones first. That's 21 plus 59i. Alright, please continue watching on the next video.